As Jansi has mentioned, I'm going to talk about challenges in mathematics education from a perspective from a Mathematics Olympiad organizer. I'm going to start by creating context on issues facing the education system and argue that Mathematics Olympiads and competitions are addressing the need to improve mathematics education and what the benefits are to participate in these type of Olympiads. I'm going to look at what challenges we are facing as an Olympiad organizer. And lastly, I'm going to talk about the urgent need to create awareness for STEM subjects for career guidance purposes. Prior to COVID, many studies have shown that the South African education system is performing poorly, with learners not meeting the grade level expectations in many subjects, including mathematics. Learning losses resulting from school closures and the rotational system due to COVID has worsened the learning backlogs. The challenges within mathematics education are well documented and include overcrowded classrooms, schools without mathematics teachers, poorly qualified teachers, few matric distinctions. In 2021, only 3% of learners writing mathematics achieve a distinction. The challenges also extend beyond the education system, such as poverty. But I want to spend a little bit more time talking about no basic mathematics knowledge. Now, the curriculum is prefaced on the principle that a learner has to master a content of a grade in order to grasp the content of the subsequent grade. So if a learner has not achieved that, in other words, if a learner is struggling with curricular mathematics, then a learner will find the problems in mathematics Olympiads and competitions difficult because those problems extend beyond the classroom. The main aim of mathematics competitions and Olympiad is to promote the importance of the subject and to create a love for the subject. We have many learners telling us after the Redhill competition that they didn't realize that mathematics can be so interesting. It's also used by teachers to benchmark the performance of their learners against external standard. It can be used as a teaching resource. The Olympiad problems can be incorporated into the mathematics lessons. We have many Olympiad resources available for schools and learners. And we've recently partnered with an online platform called mytutor.chat that's really available to all learners, and it consists of various Olympiad and competition questions and problems that learners can work through at their own pace. So that is also a wonderful teaching resource. And lastly, by participating in mathematics Olympiad and competitions, it will assist a learner to improve the understanding of mathematics. In that regard, I want to refer to a study that has been done by an independent evaluator on our primary school mathematics competition. And this has been done over the period from 2017 to 2020. The blue line on the left indicates schools who've participated in the challenge on a regular basis. The middle line is schools who participate on an on and off basis, and the grey line is schools who only participate once off. And that's for quantile 1 and 3 here, quantile 4, quantile 5, and then the private schools. So there seems to be a correlation between regular participation in the mathematics challenge and improved performance in the challenge. But the important part, and I want to go back to this slide, is if a learner's performance improves in solving mathematics type of questions, then that learner's understanding of mathematics will also automatically improve. Mathematicians have always understood that problem solving is central to the discipline, because without a problem, there is no mathematics. So mathematics question can be categorized as non-routine maths problems and routine maths problems. The routine maths problems are the ones that we find in the school mathematics paper. They tend to be rigid, repetitive, focusing on known procedures to solve questions, especially in the senior grades, which are exam-driven. There's an emphasis on drill and rote learning instead of developing conceptual understanding and higher order thinking skills. Non-routine mathematical problems is those problems that you find in our Olympiads and competitions. These problems requires creativity, originality. Learners have to think out of the box in order to solve a problem. In many cases, there are various ways of solving a problem. And by doing so, we develop the critical thinking and reasoning skills that is so important to foster in our learners. I want to share a beautiful quote from a teacher who first taught at a private school and now is teaching in a rural school in Mpumalanga, summarizing the importance of getting exposure to non-routine mathematical problems. Compared to the approach of mathematics that is taught in the classroom, especially in public schools, the mathematics challenge requires the learner to use logic and then problem-solving skills to answer the questions, to which I feel most of our learners are lacking in that regard. So, this mathematics requires the learner to have the basic mathematical concept, but more importantly, to have their problem-solving abilities and logical thinking. That's what the papers require from the learners. In addition to exposure to problem-solving, the challenge is also dedicated to provide problems that are grounded in real-life situation, which is another aspect that has proven to promote the understanding and the love of mathematics. I want to read another quote from one of our previous top performers, Musa Ndlovu, who is now a chartered accountant. Looking back over my journey thus far, the South African Mathematics Olympiad was the starting block of my success. It played a huge role to unearth my mathematical gift. We have about 160,000 learners participating annually in our 2 national competitions. The one is our high school competition called the South African Mathematics Olympiad. And the other one is a primary competition for grade 4 to 7 learners called the South African Mathematics Challenge. Now that might seem as a high number, but at this stage, we're only reaching between 10 to 30% of all schools in South Africa. So a lot more needs to be done, especially closer cooperation with the different levels of basic education to extend our reach. In a survey that we've done with our participating schools, the teachers have given the following reasons for not participating in our Olympiads and competitions. Firstly, work pressure. Now we know that teachers are at the moment under extreme pressure to catch up with learning losses, and they simply do not have time to engage in extracurricular activities. As I've already mentioned, learners are not coping with curriculum mathematics, so they find the contents of our papers too difficult. They feel disheartened if they do not qualify for the second round of our competitions, and then they do not enter again. Teachers themselves are struggling with non-routine mathematical problems. In a study focused on the content knowledge of mathematics high school teachers, it found that teachers on average scored 29% in solving problem-solving questions. Then some teachers also indicated budget constraints as a reason for not entering their learners. Quanta 1 and 2 schools can enter free of charge, but there is an entry fee for Quanta 3 to 5, as well as the private schools that varies between 25 to 40 Rand per learner. And teachers are telling us that that is still too high, especially considering the current economic climate. This graph shows the impact that COVID had on our reach. This is based for the first round of the South African Mathematics Olympiad from 2018 to 2022. Now in 2020, we were lucky that the first round took place just before the hard lockdown. So that's why the number there of 1,201 schools are still fairly good. But as you can see, then it dropped drastically in 2021, and now it has started to normalize again. One advantage of COVID was that it forced us, as many other educational service providers, to move from face-to-face teaching to either fully online teaching or blended teaching, and to consider how we can use technology and how to integrate technology into our programs. And since 2020, we have trained more than 2,000 teachers, either using a fully online model or a blended model of training. Mathematics is one of the gateway subjects which are considered critical for the country's economic growth and development. Performance in mathematics matters for university entrance, and without it, school leavers are not eligible for programs at university such as science, engineering, or even commerce, like accounting and economics. I've already mentioned that the main aim of mathematics and competitions is to promote the importance for the subject, to create a love for the subject. So we try to make it an enjoyable experience for the learners. Primary school teachers are telling us that if a learner participates in the challenge, that learner is more likely to take pure mathematics at FET level. The long-term impact that we are hoping for is that once a primary school learner reached the point of taking pure mathematics, their improved math problem-solving skills will also help them to achieve good grades in mathematics and ultimately yield more matriculants who pass mathematics well. The poor state of education generally has resulted in mathematics being isolated as essential knowledge in South Africa. Mathematics literacy was introduced for those learners who are not coping with pure mathematics from the FET phase, and technical mathematics was introduced in 2016. I read an article about a learner who took technical mathematics and only realized when he started to apply for STEM-related degree that higher education institutions are not recognizing technical mathematics. I wonder if learners and parents are aware of the difference between pure mathematics, mathematics literacy, and technical mathematics, and the entry requirements in order to study a STEM-related degree at tertiary level. I do not think so. And I think all relevant stakeholders, such as school, universities, industry, and non-profitable organizations, such as the Mathematics Foundation and the NSDF, can play a bigger role to promote the importance of taking pure mathematics if you want to study a STEM-related degree.
Any questions, any comments?